Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0 fans. You're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do the results show for Road to Comic of the Year and also the introduction to grouping number 2. That's right, guys. Last week for the first grouping, we got an extreme amount of votes, and I want to appreciate everyone's participation in Road to Comic of the Year, where you, the viewers, get to vote for your favorite comic books to get nominated for Comic of the Year, and then we have a one last video where you guys do get to vote on which one of those books is Comic of the Year. So, with that being said, let's get the results for last week's grouping number 1. So, last week's group consisted of Green Lantern, issue number 38, Renew Your Vows, issue number 1, Hank Johnson, Agent of Hydra, issue number 1, The Walking Dead, issue number 143, The Amazing Spider-Man 16.1, and Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde, issue number 1. That's right, guys. So you guys voted, and the results are in. So let's see what we have. Drum roll, please. So first things first is the book that didn't get any votes whatsoever was Green Lantern, issue number 38. I guess you guys didn't care about Carol Ferris and Hal Jordan's troubled relationship and how that book continues to struggle. So that didn't get any votes. But every other issue that was presented here in the group did get a result of some kind of votes. The next book that is out of the loop that didn't make the cut this week was The Amazing Spider-Man 16.1. Unfortunately, not enough people voted for it. All right. Next, as we go down the list on the next book that got least amount of votes was, I am a fan favorite of it, but I guess no one else was, and that was The Walking Dead, issue number 143. It's only got a couple of votes. So sorry, Walking Dead. One of those issues will not be nominated for Comic of the Year. The next book on that list goes to Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde, issue number 1. They just missed a cut by a few votes. More than a few. Actually, the only people that voted for this was one other person, and Kat, Comic Uno, you voted for it, and Brant Fowler, you voted for it too. Then there was one other person that voted for it. So, the books that got the most votes by a landslide were these two issues right here, which was Hank Johnson, Agent of Hydra, and Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, issue number 1. Which was the winner and which is the wild card? Well, that one goes to... Bam! This was your winner this week. The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. It was pretty close. It was a separation of 3 votes of what determined what was the winner and what was nominated for Comic of the Year. So congratulations, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. You won a grouping number 1. And Hank Johnson, Agent of Hydra, still has a chance to get nominated because it goes to the wild card round for a later episode. All right, so now that we got that, let's move on to group number 2. Remember, guys, every vote counts, so please vote. All right, so the first book that we're going to be talking about today is Batman and Robin Eternal, issue number 1. This book just came out, but it made a huge impact on a lot of readers. And the last page is just an awesome page because you do not expect at the end of this book for Batman to be holding a gun or a smoking gun. And the artwork here with Tony S. Daniel is absolutely phenomenal. It just leaves you with a huge cliffhanger here. And this book is introducing you to all kinds of different Robins in this book. Jason Todd and Grayson right from the start. The character interactions in this book was great. And so far, this is, we're 6 issues into this, and it's still a very good series. So if you guys want to see this get nominated for Comic of the Year, please vote now. All right, next in group number 2 goes to Chrononauts, issue number 2, another independent comic book that's in the and that was in my comics or top countdown this year. Chrononauts had to do with 2 individuals that had to go back in time, and when they went back in time, they kind of did anything that they wanted. They went and they got a whole bunch of girlfriends. They did gambling. They traveled all through the dinosaur age. They teamed up together, and it was good to see their travels. This is a good overall story, and issue number 2 really set out the plot and what was going forward. If you like Sean Murphy's artwork, this is a great series to actually read. You guys can probably pick this up in trade right now. This was a really awesome story. Really enjoyed it. And if you guys want to vote for this one, please vote now. Chrononauts issue number 2. All right, next we go on to another Image comic book in this week's group, and that goes on to Invincible issue number 122. Invincible is just a great book. It really has to do with all the great family elements that are in this series that makes it so good. In this particular issue, we wound up getting to see how no matter what Adam, Eve, and Mark actually do, they can't get adjusted to this planet, which is really good. And just the character developments in this book between Oliver and Mark were really good. And overall, the series is really well done, and it's a really grounded series. And this issue was awesome. You get left cliffhanging with the Viltrumite former leader Thrag in here, and just an awesome series in general. Obviously, it was number 1 for me on a particular week. Is it worth Comic of the Year material? Not sure, but you guys have to vote. So that's Invincible issue number 122. All right. Next, we go on to a book that kind of made it by default here. This was the first week of comics for the 2015 week, and S.H.I.E.L.D. issue number 1 was being released. And basically what you see here is it looks like, based off of the covers, an adaptation of the actual TV show. So you're like, wow, how's this going to fit in with the TV show? And I don't think there was many comics that were released that particular week in the series. But nevertheless, for what I remember, this was Agent Coulson when he was I think a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and you get to see him climb up the ranks in here, which I thought was pretty neat. And you get to see, I think Agent May was in here too. So it was a good kind of like origin story, whatnot. And the character at the end was pretty neat. I think it was like Black Knight or whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought the artwork was really well done in here too. So for as far as I remember, this was a pretty good book. But again, it was really only number 1 because there was like 5 comics that came out that week. So it was like the best one I read for the week, in my personal opinion. So Mark Waid wrote this particular book. But if you want this voted for Comic of the Year, please vote now. All right. And last but not least, for a group number 2 this week, it goes to The Astonishing Ant-Man issue number 1. This was the volume that came out earlier this year, before All New, All Different. Or no, this is the new one. My bad. This is the new one. See, I'm getting them all confused. So this is The Astonishing Ant-Man issue number 1 that just came out. For me, this was a really good book. I know for others that don't agree with going on with Cassie Lang, this is definitely not going to be your vote in this grouping. But I enjoyed the story. I think the writing is very well done, and I like how this was all new, all different, Marvel friendly, because it kind of hashed up everything that happened with Scott Lang in the past series. He kind of touched on all the characters that interacted through his life. We got to see a cool villain app that was that was in this issue, which I thought was pretty cool, that, you know, summoned villains to defeat good guys. And I thought the writing was really well done here. So I thought this was a cool issue. So if you guys want to see this book nominated for Comic of the Year, please vote now. And there you have it, guys. There are the books for this week. So maybe not as many heavy hitters as last week, but that's just the way the grouping fell. So again, we go over it. It's the Astonishing Ant-Man, issue number 1, brand new series. Shield number 1 from the beginning of the year, kind of by default. Invincible issue number 122, which is always a great series, seeing Mark and Adam Eve adjust to their new planet that they're living on, which is comical. Chrononauts by Mark Millar, which is going to become a movie in the future, which is a very well done series, and issue number 2 really fleshed out the plot here. And Batman and Robin Eternal issue number 1, which proves to be a promising good series overall in the future, which so far it actually still is. So guys, please vote now. And guys, you have 1 week from today, Monday as of next week, the voting will be closed, and Tuesday I will actually do the results show, and then we move on to group number 3. Now I did this one a day early because I can't do any videos tomorrow as I have a huge tennis event. So guys, again, it's super important that you vote. Please vote now. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0, and this has been Road to the Comic of the Year results and group number 2 show. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.